Welcome to We in Lewes, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the remarkable, creative, and energetic people who live in Lewes and are helping our community forge a collective soul as appealing as it is unique. These are their stories in their words. They are the we in Lewes. I'm Kevin McGinnis. Our guest today is Matt Carter, the owner of Quest Adventures, which provides outdoor, beach, and on-the-water experiences throughout the year. They rent kayaks, paddleboards, floating mats, and beach accessories, and can provide bonfires, tours, and related experiences. In addition to Lewes, Matt has branches at Cape Henlopen Park, Gordon's Pond, Roosevelt Inlet, Broadkill Beach, the Lazy LB&B on Old Mill Creek, and Milton. He's also a personal trainer and is well known for helping provide persons with physical or mobility needs with access to recreational activities in our community. Yes, Matt's just a little busy. We're thrilled that our partner for today's episode is Rick Quill and his team at the Blue Water House, a local 9-room beach and house located within steps of Lewes Beach and the city's downtown, so everything is within easy walking distance. It's one of the most uncommon, memorable establishments in town, with a Key West theme, floor and wall space adorned with an eclectic collection of paintings and art that is so immersive that some visitors find themselves in a state of sensory overload on their first visit. As you can tell from its reviews on TripAdvisor or Yelp, it's beloved by its guests, who proudly trumpet the fact that every room is different, the breakfasts are overwhelming, and there is always something to eat or drink within easy reach. Check it out at lewes-beach.com. Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you? Thank you.
Matt, to appreciate what you're doing today, one has to go back in time. Here you were playing football at Salisbury State University, and somehow a year later, you're in the Rocky Mountains at Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado, studying exercise science and adventure education. What happened?
So I started my college career at Salisbury, and I did 2 years there, and wanted to play football. I was close to home, enjoyed, the safety of everything, just being close to home and family and knowing where I was at. Then it switched. I needed to go. I needed to go find something new. And I found this little college, Fort Lewis College in Durango, and booked a trip and just randomly applied. And next thing I know, I'm halfway across the country and visiting, studying school, college there, and opened myself up to a whole new experience.
It seems that classes at Fort Lewis are different than the normal college options. Did you also study while spending the night in an ice cave?
Yeah, so basically, exercise science degree. It was standard across all the colleges, but at Fort Lewis, we were able to take traditional sports or adventure sports. Obviously, opted for the adventure sports, and my classes involved rock climbing, biking, kayaking, snowboarding, winter camping, desert camping, search and rescue. Instead of being on the side of the football field and just taking care of somebody's ACL, we're hiking through the mountains for 2 weeks and staging avalanches and doing triage out there, and sort of gave me direction on I needed an outdoor occupation in life.
What were you actually studying? Because much of it sounds like a dream education, especially for those of us whose college seemed to be stuck in a library toiling away for hours on a research paper.
So at Fort Lewis, it was exercise science. And under exercise science, it was fitness and leisure, coaching, and pre-athletic training. But we were able to take classes that were just adventurous and outdoors. And so my classes involved rock climbing, biking, kayaking, snowboarding, winter camping, desert camping. For example, the winter camping class, we went 2 weeks out hiking through the San Juans. And then after we got to through the day of hiking and traversing and staging avalanches, I found myself sleeping in a snow cave, and it was still back up to the books, and we're studying the physiology, kinesiology, the science part. So it wasn't all fun and games, but the experience on the mountains, outdoors, out of the classroom, was just absolutely amazing.
If you live out west, many people view their job as a means for financing outdoor adventure. People are not as interested in who you know, but where you went on your last vacation. Did you find that to be true?
Absolutely. I'm a college student. I'm getting by bare minimum, but every day it was just like who we met. It was like, what did you do that day? Where did you hike? What did you took your dog for a walk? Where did you go rock climbing? Where did you kayak down this river today? It was all about just living and the adventure.
That area has ski resorts, and I believe some of your fellow students worked at ski resorts, which in turn gave you some opportunities that most of us would never have been able to enjoy.
Durango is close to Purgatory, which is now called Durango Mountain, and Purgatory was the main ski resort. So I did adaptive PE. That gave me one way to get into affording the snowboarding I wanted to do, and where I would take somebody with some kind of physical need. The one I did was the kid was blind, and basically I would snowboard down behind him, he was tethered to me with ropes, and I could steer him as I pulled. Hey, turn right, turn left. So I did that all morning, but then I would be able to get a free snowboard pass all afternoon. So that was one way I got to enjoy that. Two, maybe off record, is my guys that had the snowcats and groomed the trails. So we would jump on those at middle of the night when they're grooming all, through midnight to 2 a.m. And all of a sudden we find ourselves, we jump off, we're at the top of the mountain, and there's 3 cats down us grooming, and we're snowboarding in front of them with the lights on in the middle of the night. So that was another way to get around the $200 a day snow pass.
I would assume snowboarding in the night with the lights on behind you is pretty special.
It was pretty. It was one of my best memories out there. I would say doing that, and when we would go to Red Mountain and Mullis Pass, we would just build kickers, and there would be a full moon. It would light up, and you could just snowboard all night and just be lit by the moon. And it was just, you're out there with 10, 15 of your friends and just loving life.
What is a kicker?
A kicker. So it's just a big jump.
Oh.
But luckily there's no lifts or anything. It's you're hiking up and down over and over, and it's just nice, big, soft, powdery landings.
What you're learning in your lifestyle now is sort of typical out west. It's not so typical back here. What led you to believe that you could take that lifestyle, which you obviously love so much, and bring it back to Lewes?
Because I was just young and dumb, and I was just like, I was like, you know what? I like doing this stuff. But I like being in Delaware. I'm going to do what I like, and I guess that kind of was the initial what brought it back. I bought a rock climbing wall. I brought it here, and that was my first business.
This is a portable walk.
So this is Rocks, Rims, and Rapids. Okay, my senior year in college, they gave me. I had to take one more class, and it was entrepreneurship. And with entrepreneurship, I was just like, okay, maybe I will go into business for myself one day. And I walked in. The guy said, hey, tomorrow, come up with a business you want to do. Next thing I know, I have Rocks, Rims, and Rapids. And that was my senior year in college. And it was just fluke that I missed an elective. So I designed a portable rock climbing wall. And when I graduated, I got back in 99 that summer. It got shipped across country, and 2 weeks later, I'm in Ocean City Spring Fest, 25-foot rock wall behind my truck. I sent 2,000 customers up that weekend at the Spring Fest, and I was like, wow, man, this thing is great. And then I had it, traveled kind of like Carney, but it was like I was at every little town fair, every town event. Started doing a lot of corporate retreats, and that was the start of Quest nowadays, but it was Rocks, Rims, and Rapids. The next year, I was at Harvest Tide, which was Miss Green's liquor store, and there was a produce shop next to it, so that's where I put the rock wall, and then I bought 10 kayaks and 10 bikes, And I was way too early on the kayak scene, I believe. But now I look back, I was like, it was great to enjoy how slow it was then. And so I did that for like 2 years. Moved to the Beacon Motel, and I put in a personal training studio. It wasn't 2 years later. I was presented the place at 5 Points. So it was just me, Food Line then, which is now Weiss, and Quest. And I ended up in a 8,000 square foot membership gym. Did that for like 10 years, maintaining the kayaking. I put the rock climbing wall into the gym there just because I was still trying to build up this interest in people. And then let's see, after that, I merged with Rise, and we did the adventure fitness. And actually, in between there, I put on 3 mud runs, and they were just like a Tough Mudder, like a Spartan. And this was in Milton, out on this farm, and we built a complete mud racing course with the walls, the ponds, you had to trudge under sticks and through streams, and then to the point where we set up these hay bales, and when you popped out through this fence, there was like 5 ninjas running at you, and you had to break through and get to the other side. So I guess basically...
Wait.
You don't even know I did all this.
I had no idea, but you're saying saying you're like climbing underneath, getting like some sort of tunnel. You emerge from a tunnel and people are attacking you.
Pretty much.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
We had Mike Chamberlain. He was one of our martial artists ninja guys. He's now in Maine, but I was like, Mike. I was like, I'm making this course, and I was like, I need something. I need another obstacle. So him and his team became our obstacle. And I was just like, I had kids from like 8 years old to 70-year-olds running through this course. And they pop out, and here comes through this little tunnel, and here comes these guys with, pongo sticks and trying to jab at them. And so now I kind of look back at it, and once I kind of summarized all this, I was just like, it's been an adventurous little ride. And, so I guess Colorado did bring the adventure back to Delaware somehow for me. And I keep presenting it any way I can, maybe for my customers, but maybe mostly for me.
So let's go back for a second.
I wouldn't say mostly for me. I love my customers.
So let's go back for a minute. So where the restaurant Harvest Tide currently is, that used to be a liquor store.
Yes.
And it had a vegetable stand out front. Mm-hmm. And you took over the vegetable stand and cleaned everything out and had your training gym there, correct?
Correct.
But did you also live there?
I did, yeah. I'm easy living. All right.
So this is not traditional accommodations. And is this sort of where you developed a certain lifestyle that seems to have followed you throughout your career in terms of not worrying about some of the traditional business trappings or certain like shoes and things of that sort?
It was probably because of the day I slept in the snow cave, really. So then I came back here. I was like, wow, this is a nice and warm cave where the produce shop was. I did put a shower in, and I did stay there. It was easy living, but it was... I was close to work. I felt like I was just living and work. But my work was fun. And you kind of do what you got to do to get by.
Where did you eat?
Where did I eat? We had George Foreman Grill. And we had the Lemon Tree next door. We had Pretzel Time. We had, we grilled out a lot. Between a little grill, a grill and a small fridge. You got everything you need.
So would it be fair to say you very shrewdly kept your overhead down?
Yeah, definitely kept my overhead down. I was never late for work too often. And, but it was just a place to chill. It created that vibe, where, my hours were long and we worked hard and the staff would come in and then we would just sit right around and we didn't feel like we were at work anymore. And that's kind of the same as how I am now. We're hanging out at the shack. Four of my locations, we don't have electric or anything. We're just there on a shack, and we operate completely under that. At the main location, I do have electric now, so I guess I stepped it up.
It seems that you were a little ahead. In other words, you had a rock climbing wall before anyone was doing rock climbing back here on the East. You said you got into kayaks a little early. Were you sort of setting some trends, setting some patterns that you would not only follow, but that others would eventually follow as well?
I would say so. I would definitely say, because of my passion and love for the outdoors, and having that experience out west, coming back to Delaware, you kind of see the void, see what's being missed, what's needed, and have the rock wall. It was more of a passion for mine, but I was like, what was needed here? And once people start experiencing it, and then all of a sudden this customer base starts building up, and you realize you're not just accommodating Delaware. It's DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Richmond. I mean, we're so many people from like the larger populated areas. As they come in, they didn't just grow up in the city there. They're coming from around the country. Lewes is perfect for the kayaking. Every other town, you either have ocean or, the bay or the highway in between. We have the ocean. We got the bay. We got the state park. We have the canal. We have the river. We got the creeks. It's just like a perfect little center with a variety of what you can experience on the water. With that came competition. Competition's great, and there's a lot of them. We co-market each other, and it's been and if anything, it makes us step up our own personal game.
Throughout all of these changes and all of these evolutions, you're always training. That was always sort of a core of what you were doing. Is that right?
Yes. So the personal training was like, I guess my go-to year round. And it was also, my mom and dad said, if I don't use my degree, I'm in trouble. Like I got to pay them all back. Okay, I'm still training. I'm using the degree, guys. The personal training, that I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed doing the membership gym, but I knew I was going to get out of that phase of it. But the personal training, I couldn't give up. I've got relationships now with people that I've trained for over 15, 20 years. And, I've met so many different people, and there's some that you get them, you can help them. You can see you can see the result. You can see the start, the finish, how you can benefit them. You got to deal with so many different personalities and different ways to motivate them. And then there's sometimes where I'm just like, no, I can't help you. You need somebody else that can focus on your specific need.
Why didn't you get into equipment sales?
Equipment sales, you had to be there all the time. It sets your hours too much. You got to have somebody else sitting there all day when I could be out on the water taking care of these customers and doing more of the actual service. And it was just never in my wheelhouse was to do sales. And I didn't want to be open year round. And I didn't want to just carry the inventory and have to always keep the inside of the store nice and neat. So it was too much insides.
So today you're headquartered at the Beacon Hotel complex. But you also have, 5, 6 branches?
Yes. So the main one at the Beacon Motel. And from that location, we'll do our deliveries back and forth. We do a lot of our sunset tours, a lot of our groups. If we had all the walk by traffic of Lewes, and then we have one at Roosevelt Inlet on the beach. That's just catering towards that end of the beach. Cape Henlopen State Park. We're at the fishing pier next to Breakwater Bait and Tackle Shop. which is my co-partner on that with, so those locations are spreading out. We want Lewes. We have the park, the one end of the beach, and then we have our main downtown close to Lewes, so Savannah Beach. There's we're at the Lazy L Bed and Breakfast. That's more for just the customers there, and we can run a few tours out of there though, and that's on Old Mill Creek. And then we'll deliver out to Broadkill, Slaughter Beach, Prime Hook, Milton. A new location that I'm partnering up on this year is in it's Fenwick Island. It was the former Coastal Kayaks, and so between Quest Adventures and Eco Bay, which is Lisa Daisy, we are taking over the Fenwick location, and it's still going to be called Coastal Kayak, just because they have such a base down there.
Despite the fact that you seem to run a very relaxed shop, this is a pretty complicated business.
We're not just sitting in the hammock, which is when everyone drives by and sees us. The rest of the time, we are moving and grooving. You have a variety of different needs. I mean, you're working with, sometimes, we got 150 Girl Scouts or a youth group, so we're organizing big trips for them. We're organizing all-day educational experiences for them as well. And then to, like the Sanford School, they come down for a huge beach day. There's 200 kids. And then we have like a Montessori school's coming down. They just called yesterday, and they got 25 kids. So we got, it's not like day camps, but an all-day experience for these guys. And then, then it's just whether it's the tourism that comes in, and you want their holiday, their vacation to be the best. So you're all year long, you're scheduling for them. You're coming up with new ideas for them to experience. And then it's the corporate youth, the corporate groups. We do all the restaurant groups and breweries and families. We do all their beach day events, and we have the Fire by Night. And that's our new tagline: Water by Day, Fire by Night. And so Fire by Night is the beach bonfires. And with the bonfires, I always say the best time of day is at night. It is, to experience the beach at night is just amazing. It gets quiet. There's no more traffic out there. The light pollution's gone. The voices quiet down. We've been doing fires for about 12 years, but since COVID is when it's really boomed.
But Matt, they're fires and they're fires. And I know from personal experiences, your fires are pretty amazing because you have the bonfire, you have the fire going, but you provide chairs, you provide all sorts of other things.
For one, we get permit pit wood, we set it up, light it, break it down for you. So you walk up, walk away, it's leave no trace. You can have, groups of 2 to 50 people enjoy a fire. And then it's, but then it's the a la carte menu, let's get the chairs, let's bring in the umbrellas, let's do a little bit of string lights. And then you can we need a table, a trash can, a cooler. We go for the beach chill vibe. This Friday, we have a 110 person wedding we're doing on the beach, and we get a little bit fancier than what I'm used to, but it's, but that's why I leave all this up to Shannon, which is our fire girl. So you go to her and she'll take care of everything you want for 2 person to 150 person.
Did you also get to Lewes and start doing all this at the right time? Because some of the things you described about, I installed a shower, I did this. I don't think you could do that as easily today as you could back in 2000.
Absolutely. And when you say showers, maybe more like a
hose on a hook.
On a hook. So, but no, it's times have changed. Lewes has definitely changed. Some for the better, some for not. But with growing population and everything, you got to tighten up the reins a little. And so we got in at the right time. We've grown with it with Lewes. So if we've watched it, it's we took it by little steps at a time.
One of your most popular things you do, in addition to renting the pads and all of that sort of stuff, but one of the most is you do a a dolphin kayak. Is that correct? I don't have the right name for it, but you do.
Dolphin tour.
Dolphin tour. There you go. There you go. But in yours, you're not sitting in a boat 4 or 5 feet above the water. You're actually in the water. And does that give a whole different view when you're interacting with a dolphin?
So you're not actually in the water. You're on a kayak in the water. Okay.
Well, you're a lot closer.
You're a lot closer, without a doubt. Our dolphin tour is one of our most popular, and it's like an 8 a.m. In the morning tour. We want to beat the heat. We want to beat the traffic. It's still calm usually out on the bay, and from the Cape Henlopen State Park, we'll head out to like the Red Lighthouse, and somewhere around there, our tour guides, they know, they can sense them. They know where they are, and you are on the water. You're very, very close. The best day would be, we see 200 of them, and they can be all around us, 5 feet away to, surrounding us for the next 50 yards, 100 yards. And then the very next day, you might just see one out there, and it's like 100 yards away. And you're like, that's our dolphin tour for today, guys. And, but we've had some amazing experiences. I mean, we've had them tap the boats. We had them put on SeaWorld's aerial shows right in front of us. You get to see the little ones, the little babies come up, and they're, you can see when they pop up next to you, you see their little eyeball just look you up and down. And it's just like, when they spray out, the mist comes right across on you. I mean, it's been some amazing experiences up close and personal.
For many young people, working with you is considered to be the cool summer job in Lewes. Running around the beach, no shirt, no shoes. But it's actually hard work. How do you attract your crews?
At first, we just had this kind of small group of kids come from, like, say, my gym or something. And it was really just me and maybe 3 people. And over the years, as they grew, I would say, and then all of a sudden, as we get busier and busier, they're just like, oh, my friend, he would be good at this, or my friend. Or it's just like they like, no, not this person. They're just not going to work hard enough. It is a very beach chill kind of vibe, and it is the best with no shoes, no shirt, and you're running up and down the beach. And but it is hard work. You're hot. You're sweaty. That sand is extremely hot. Those kayaks are not light. You are dragging boats 100 yards, 2 at a time, just to get to the water, carrying them back. And you're doing that 50, 60 times a day. I mean, it is hard work. But at the same time, they're jumping in the water in between every delivery. They get to high five their friends when they go by. They get to see their family sitting down on the beach. And then they come back to the shack, and we all just get to fall out on the ground and lay down for a minute and chill out, and I'll buy them some food and some lunch and some waters, and it's just, I think over time, I kind of watched where these kids, they start out as kids, and then they start to confide in me. I start to talk to them. They start to hang out after, like, the days are off work. Then they get our nicknames for each other, and we can just, they start to, it's like, as much as I rely on them, they kind of, sometimes they start relying on me, or they feel comfortable with me. And, and they don't even know it half the time. I'm throwing questions out, trying to get answers from them for myself. So it's just like we kind of help each other, and we build up this family unity. I really try to present Quest as like, we don't have staff, we have a family. They're there for each other, through the good, the bad.
Do they also end up learning some things they may not be expecting to learn? Because you're dealing with the public, you're dealing with customers, and you're dealing with adults who sometimes are under a lot of pressure to have the perfect vacation. And any of us who've had children and raised children and come to the beach know the pressure that can be involved in making sure every day is maximized to the hilt.
So they learn a lot. And the first thing I tell them is just keep smiling. If they ask for something and you don't know it, you're just like, give us a few minutes. We're going to find out. You're going to go the extra mile. You're going to You know, take a second, talk to them, tell them things to do, give them your recommendations. You know, if they see they have kids your age or something, like they're relying on you for so much more than just bringing that kayak. You're their walking chamber of commerce almost. You are walking there telling them so much info, what to do in this town. And then you're one of their like connections to the town. Like now they're just like they're going to start requesting you year after year, right? I mean, we have some of our customers we see once a year, and they're sending us Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's and cards and stuff, and they're just like, tell the long red hair guy this, right? He's our best. We want him back next year, or or so and so, and I was just like, so that's, I was like, now you've what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, and you got to learn to deal with, the perfect customer, the not perfect customer, how to avoid situations, how to give a good affirmative, safety instruction, but how to also gauge how do you talk to different types. And then it's, and just a responsibility of, you got being the punctuality and the learning and the safety, and you're driving cars and you're moving things around.
A lot of businesses struggle to create a culture. They want their employees to feel they are part of the business, responsible for the business, that people like to come to work. Often it doesn't work. You clearly have such a culture. Is that because the culture is based on you?
I got friends now. They started out as working for me, and now they are some of my best friends. I know how this one's going to react to me, and then this one I can yell at, and we're going to laugh and hug later. And then this one I better be real soft with, because they're going to get their feelings hurt. Or how do you motivate? And but that's just a learning experience of it all. They find my weaknesses and strengths, right? And they know how to work me as well. And but then we build together as a team all around. And it never ends. I'm writing references for people to get into the Marines, to go to college, to go to school, to get a room in somewhere, their next real job. What we build continues. Once you're in the family, you're always in the family. And so that's what I try to push. And I think the staff feels it as well. They come back and they're just like, we never skip a beat.
You obviously are often seen barefoot. And being barefoot is a key part of working at Quest. Is that not just a style thing? I mean, do you have to have pretty tough feet to be able to run around like your team does?
Summer feet. You got to have summer feet. And
what are summer feet?
Summer feet. It is like starting now. Take your shoes off. And go barefoot and just start walking across everywhere. It's the new kids that show up and they start June 1st and that sand's already hot and they haven't taken their shoes off yet. Now I'm not going to see them until June 7th because their feet are burned. So I'm like, you got to toughen up those feet. My daughter and I, she's always like, we run down to the beach every day and she's like, get my summer feet on, Dad, get my summer feet. So, you got to have tough feet. I mean, really, you're running across the parking lot, the blacktop, the sand is scalding hot. And you just go. And if you wear flip-flops, you're going to take them off at every entrance to the beach, and then you're going to forget about them. And end of the year, you got 20 pairs of flip-flops, one at each beach access, which happened a year. So I gave up on flip-flops. I'm just barefoot.
Last year was quite a complicated year for you. And I know that suddenly your dad passed away. And with everything that was going on, you couldn't sort of hold a funeral in the traditional cycle. But you ended up having instead, a little later on, a celebration of life. What did that mean for you?
2024. It was a pretty intense year. March 1st, my father passed. And then the focus was on my mom. She's now in memory care at the lodge. which has been just an amazing facility. So just the transition of that March, all of April, we had a celebration of life for my father, April 20th. And that was, it was, I think it was the best thing that we could have done. One, it gave everybody time to get together, but it also gave myself a lot of time to grieve and appreciate and to get over a few things. To now, when that day came and we did the celebration, I was able to laugh and enjoy life and talk to every person, and just to really hear all the things I wanted to hear about my dad versus going right into it a week or two later.
Tell us about the work you're doing to make the beach more accessible for those with mobility challenges.
We started out with a Mason's Mobility mission. It was an awesome, very positive experience. Definitely started getting things moving in the right direction. As for Quest, being part of a machinery part of that, we're still going to continue. We have a lot of the inventory of the beach access chairs, and we got some rollout mats, and we still have the bike wagon or bike trailer with the Lewes cycles next door. We're still offering the beach access chairs. We still have our guys out there sweeping the mats that access the beach. In fact, our next job is to go to Roosevelt Inlet because the handicap parking area is completely full of stones. So that's our next job. We're going down there this week, and I was like, guys, we got to sweep this off. The chairs, we love to have reservations. You can always just call us, text us, give us a little bit of notice, and we will bring you an access chair to the beach or to your house or to your rental. We have a 3-wheeler where you sit much lower, and it's got some buoys on the side. You can wheel down onto the sand, but it also can float. Now, you're not out floating 4 or 5 feet deep, but you're in it keeps the buoyancy. So it can be submerged, and then you're almost in just you're laying down a little bit in a recliner style, and being able to float there. And then the other ones are just more for the beach to get you down there. Now it can go into the water, but not very, very deep. Just a couple inches. And then I have one that's beach access chair it's a lower profile than the standard ones that you see are the blue with the white PVC and the big wheels. This one just sits lower, and I really like that one for if you had to transfer down, or you're sitting now down at the same level as every other beach chair. So you're right there. You're even more included.
Your team also does a lot that goes unnoticed, because I know that you've actually saved some people during the summer. You've cleaned up trash. You've helped people who get stuck. There's a lot else going on that the community gets to benefit from the fact that Quest is here.
I wouldn't say we do any of it on purpose. I would say if we just do it because it's the right thing to do, we just react. We've had numerous water rescues, not necessarily a Quest customer. Okay, sometimes just a little kid. Sometimes it's just for the little kid's floating tube going away. We paddle out and get that, and it feels like the entire beach stands up and applauds everybody. It's like, wow, here's my inner tube I got for this kid that was floating away. There's times that somebody is on a paddleboard and they are just drifting too far, or the wind picked up, or the tide picks up. It wasn't their fault by any means, and it was just they need some assistance to get in. And somebody steps on a shell, on a horseshoe crab or something like that. We've taped them all up, got them called 911 or whatever, and brought the access chair down and got them from there to the road just so they could get, the help from like a paramedic. We found lost kids a block away, a little 5-year-old just kind of wandering down the beach, got misdirected. Somebody needs help. My guys, they're like, you call me, you drop what you're doing, you go help. I'll deal with the customer later that you're late for, because you're going to go help this person first.
Matt, you've lived in Lewes almost your entire adult life. What is it about this town that makes it such a special place to raise a family, run a business, and have such an original life that actually accomplishes what you were hoping it would?
Lewes is just, it's just such a feel-good place for me. And it's, raising the kids there was always this activity to do. Maybe it wasn't like a big planned, even a town event, but it was like the entire town's your playground. The way I thought of it for my kids, it was, we're on the bay, we're on the canal, we're on the marsh, we're hiking down the docks. We can be checking out the historic area, then the canyons, and everywhere you look is just an experience for raising family and kids. I got 2 boys and a little daughter. So my boys now are in college, and I love to hear them. They want to come back, and all for the same reasons why I love this town. They're just like, we're in the water every day, Dad. We are, all my friends live there. Such a cool community, such a cool town. Like, they're like, they look forward to it. And now that's when I really realized how much I like this town, was to watch my kids tell me how much they like this town. And then that's what made me realize just how special a place this is. Now I get to do it all again with my little 7-year-old daughter, though. So maybe a little slower.
Matt, thank you for joining us today, for talking about your business and your life. It takes a lot of courage to start the first of something in an area, to create a brand that has become well known, and you're still growing it. Not everyone on the East Coast can grow a business while remaining true to their original barefoot approach to life, but you pull it off. But if we're honest, there's only one, Matt Carter. Thanks to today's sponsor, the Blue Water House. It's impossible to describe it in words. You really have to see it and try it to understand why it's so popular. And thanks to you for listening, for your comments and suggestions. Without you, this would just be Steve and myself sitting at a bar telling the same stories over and over and boring each other to death, instead of an opportunity to get to know the incredible people we're lucky enough to call neighbors. Till next time, from our headquarters at the bar at Kindle, this has been We in Lewes, the podcast.